Imagine you just robbed a bank. Congratulations. You're now holding $2 million in cash. Sounds like you've won life, right? Not exactly. Because the moment you try to buy a luxury car, a mansion, or even deposit a large amount into a bank, someone is going to ask one very dangerous question. Where did all this money come from? And if you can't answer that question, your fortune instantly becomes evidence. Ironically, stealing the money isn't the hardest part. Spending it is. This is the problem that every criminal eventually faces. So how do they solve it? With a process so sophisticated that governments spend billions of dollars every year trying to stop it. It's called money laundering. And once you understand how it works, you'll realize why it's considered one of the smartest financial crimes ever created. But before we talk about washing money, we first need to understand what makes money dirty. Dirty money isn't physically different from normal money. A $100 bill earned legally looks exactly the same as one earned through fraud, corruption, drug trafficking, bribery, or tax evasion. The difference isn't the cash, it's the story behind it. Every time money enters a bank account, buys an expensive asset, or moves through the financial system, it leaves behind tiny digital footprints. Individually, those footprints seem meaningless, but together, they tell a story. And financial investigators are trained to read that story. So criminals have one simple objective: take money that screams, "I came from a crime," and transform it into money that quietly says, "I'm completely legitimate." To do that, they usually follow three carefully planned stages. The first stage is called placement, and it's also the most dangerous. Why? Because this is the moment when illegal cash first enters the legal financial system. Imagine walking into a bank carrying hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. That isn't just suspicious. It's practically an invitation for investigators to start asking questions. So criminals avoid attracting attention. Instead of depositing one huge amount, they split the cash into dozens of much smaller deposits, each carefully kept below the reporting limit. This technique is known as smurfing. Sometimes they even hire multiple people to visit different banks on different days using different accounts. It's slow, it's repetitive, but it dramatically reduces suspicion. Another common strategy is buying cash-heavy businesses like restaurants, bars, casinos, or car washes. Since these businesses naturally receive large amounts of cash every day, it's much easier to mix illegal money with real customer payments. On paper, everything looks like normal business income. But in reality, the dirty money has just taken its first step toward becoming clean. But getting the money into the system is only the beginning, because even after it's deposited, investigators can still trace where it came from. That's why criminals move to the second stage, layering. This is where the real game begins. The goal is simple: make the money so confusing to follow that anyone trying to trace it eventually gives up. The money is transferred through multiple bank accounts, shell companies, trusts, investments, and sometimes across several countries. A shell company often exists only on paper. No employees, no products, no real business, just legal documents, and a bank account. One company sends money to another. That company transfers it somewhere else. Then it's invested, withdrawn, moved again, and repeated over and over. After enough transactions, the original source becomes almost impossible to identify. The money disappears inside a maze of paperwork. By the time investigators reach the end of the trail, they often discover they've been chasing documents instead of people. Then comes the final stage: integration. This is where the money finally returns to its owner looking completely legitimate. It may appear as profits from real estate, successful investments, luxury art sales, consulting fees, or business income. On paper, everything looks perfectly legal. The money can now buy luxury cars, expensive homes, private yachts, or almost anything else, without immediately raising suspicion. But here's the scary part. The money itself was never actually cleaned. Only its history was. According to the United Nations, criminals launder hundreds of billions to trillions of dollars every year, yet authorities recover only a small fraction of it. That means the fight against money laundering isn't simply about catching criminals. It's about following money that's intentionally designed to leave almost no trace behind. And that's exactly what makes money laundering one of the most powerful financial tricks ever created. Subscribe to Smart Legacy, where money tells the story no one else does.